What's going on, guys? It's Skizzers here again with a Gul'dan tutorial typical deal that I always do. So, here we go. Video's always long as usual because I am not editing anything or pre-planning anything at all. So we're just gonna get right into this. Gonna go over his talents or go over his skills, then his talents, and I'm gonna be going over two builds with Gul'dan, and I'll show you some potential combo oriented things you can do with them. So first of all, Gul'dan is unique. I should mention this first. He's unique in the sense that he doesn't regain mana at all from using abilities. So the only way to get mana back is from like a Malfurion, the Well, the Hall, I think is what it's called in this game, or from your trait, which is your main source of gaining back mana, and that's life tap. But we'll go over that in a second. So we always set at level 20, it's just what we do here. And yeah, okay, so his Q is Fell Flame, mana cost is 75, cooldown is 1.5 seconds, release a wave of flame, dealing 482 damage to enemies. So it's the cone of death, and it's actually pretty long. You can hit people from quite far away, and as you can see here, I don't get any mana back, that's kind of his thing. So you can spam this pretty often, and it goes pretty far. It kind of extends out. So that's his Q. Pretty easy going. His W, drain life, costs no mana. Cooldown is 10 seconds. Drain the life from an enemy over 3 seconds, dealing 290 damage per second, and healing Gul'dan for 412 health per second. Remember, this is at level 20. Numbers change as you go on. So, drain health. You're like, oh man, I've taken damage. Your health will regen naturally, but you go and click it on somebody, and you'll do damage, and you'll get health back. And that's how drain life works. Once again, pretty easy. The hero's concept is pretty simple. It's just a matter of some execution plays and what you need to be looking out for with Gul'dan. His E is Corruption, mana cost 80, cooldown 14 seconds, call for 3 bursts of Shadow Energy, dealing 491 damage over 6 seconds. Corruption stack up to 3 times on an enemy. And so the one thing to note about this is each circle, right, is going to be the burst of Shadow Energy, okay? And each individual circle does 491 damage over 6 seconds. So I don't want to do the math on that. We'll just round it up to 500 for the sake of that, and that's 1500 damage, a little less than 1500 damage over 6 seconds if you hit somebody with every single one of those. Now keep in mind, it works like poison damage, so it's going to be a dot, it's going to tick, and you can heal right through it really easily. You can go grab a well, you're not going to instantly die. Another thing to keep in mind is when you are hit by Corruption, or if you are Gul'dan and you hit somebody with Corruption, it only shows the dot tick, only part of it. So you might think you're safe because there's no dot tick on the side of that, but you may not be safe at all. It could just tick right through your health pool. I don't know if that's like a visual error or if they built them that way, but you can die even if it's not showing the actual grayed out health dot. Okay, so that's his E, and then his D is called Life Tap, and it takes away life, and it gives you mana in place of that. So you're like casting spells. Oh, I didn't show Z. Let me show Z. All right. I'm just gonna use it on these guys because it's easy. So drop your E. And as you can see, they're taking this poison dots, and eventually their health will reset and they'll be good to go. So it's this circle thing. The max range of it goes to halfway through your last circle. So you can actually hit people way out here. But keep in mind, it blows up one at a time. So when you drop it, 1, 2, 3, so it'll drop in succession rather than all at the same time. So you can kind of use it as a skill shot. You can use it as an area block, which is something I've been doing a lot more and have a lot more success with in a lot of abilities. So say if somebody's running this way, you could try to aim and hit them as they're going, or you can just area denial it completely by dropping it right there, and if they walk through, they're going to take the damage, or they walk into you and you're sitting there and you're ready to use your other abilities. But he's pretty self-explanatory. It's the most complicated part of his kit, so you know, just think of that. You can place it anywhere, like I said. Place it out far, place it closer to you, all that stuff. Kind of got the sniffles too, so sorry about that in advance. So life tapping. Oh shoot, Gul'dan the song. So you need some mana. You need a life tap. So you will life tap. You'll lose health, and you'll gain mana. And boom, there's life tap. Pretty self-explanatory. What this allows Gul'dan to do is he's the only hero in the game that basically has infinite trade-offs of health. I mean, he's the only hero in the game that can trade health for mana, but from a base trait, because that's his thing. But you essentially can have near infinite mana in team fights if you're smart about when you activate abilities where. So we're gonna go over talents now, and this first build we're going to go over is his Q build. Actually, no, I take that back. We're going to go over his E build first because that's the standard, more popular one. I'm going to put my spin on it. It might be exactly the same. I don't go and look at other people's builds. I figure out what builds work best for me, and I typically build for solo Q. Also works in team games, but you can adjust your talent picks. These aren't set in stone. Feel free to explore and do what you want to do. So with the E build, alright, there's only two real differences. It's at level 1 and level 16. That's the only changes between the two builds. And I'll go over the build I prefer more after this one. So level 1 talent with the E build is we're going to go Echo Corruption first, and that is a quest talent, hit 40 enemy heroes with Corruption, and the reward is after the third strike, Corruption strikes 3 times in the opposite direction. So I'm going to try to stack this really quickly. It's hopefully it doesn't take too long. Oh, and with that, I can also show you a trick that's pretty cool. So if somebody's stunned or can't move, what you typically are thinking, right, is this guy's going to have to move, so you want to land him inside of a circle, whatever circle that is, right? You want to like land him inside there. If you place them in between a circle, as you can see there, so instead of placing the circle directly on them and trying to hit where they're moving, you can drop a circle where it's going to clip the hitbox on both right here, or just right in its hitbox on both of the points, and it will hit 2 times. As you just saw right there, the training dummy got 2 little exclamation points for the quest hit. So that is a way to easily get 2 hits of your E, almost guaranteed every time. If you're running by, just drop it on them, and as long as it clips them in the hitbox, you'll get the extra stack. So I'm just going to drop these on real quick, and this is just to get the quest done. Alright. So if I was official and awesome, I would have edited out the whole thing so you didn't have to hear that, but I'm not awesome and official because these are labors of love that I also don't want to spend a lot of time on. So, not meaning you guys aren't important, but meaning I don't want to sit here and plan out things and edit them, because this is something that's just fun to just kind of show you and go over my thoughts in the moment of things. So, with the quest done, after the third strike, Corruption strikes 3 times in the opposite direction. So now what you have is drop it, and it goes backwards. So it goes 1, 2, oh man, I wish I could like lock this so I can show you. It goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the very furthest circle hits twice in a row, and that combo's a lot better later. But just so you can see it, I can get the hit marker on both these hits, and then it's going to hit on the bottom or the back too. Also 1, 2, 1, 2. So there's 4 hits of Corruption on this target, which is pretty solid. That'll be a lot of bursts to kill a hero. I'm going to turn off cooldown. So level 4. And it just kind of shows you what this quest does towards the end of it. It's the only one we're really going to have to like show you show you guys because it's just important to know that it bounces like that. And just one more time to show the bounce. Goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can follow my little mouse with the bounces, like one of those sing-along thingies. Okay, so talent number 4. I always go improved life tap, which increases your mana restoration to 35 from 25, so you get 10% additional life steal. And essentially what this is going to help you with is life tapping less, because you're getting more mana, which means you're going to survive longer because you have more health. I don't feel like there's much of an argument with that one, and it's pretty easy to see. So I have a lot of mana missing, hit D, and I'm good to go. I only have the life tap once. Level 7. Now keep in mind, like I said, this is the build that works for me. So if you go on HotS logs or Heroes Fire or anything, you're like, well, this build from the video isn't the build that I'm reading online. That's probably true because I do all my own testing myself. I don't have influence from outside anybody. I'm always willing to take things that people say into consideration, but I don't go online and look at builds. I test it all myself and I do all the numbers myself, and then I test the builds in games to see what's viable and what's not viable. So these are the things I've come up with for myself that feel viable. So level 7, I always grab Hunger for Power, which increases your ability power by 15%, but reduces healing received from allies by 25%. Now, keep in mind this is healing received from allies. Any healer that's still healing you is going to be enough to top off you after you're using Life Drain and or an ability we're going to grab at level 13. So, just because you have to read this as increases ability power by 15%, and makes you have to know what the hell you're doing on Gul'dan so you don't die. The healing reduction isn't that big of a deal because you're going to make up for that healing reduction through you being a good player and using your W to heal, and also using what will be on your 1 slot or any of the slots, whatever one feels best on. You're going to grab Hunger for Power. Level 10, never grab Rain of Destruction. Okay, and unless they buff this thing, it's not worth it. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'll show you what it looks like at the end of the video, but it's really pointless. It's really cool looking, so if you just want to grab for the animation, you know, more to you, but if you want to win the game, you're going to grab Horrify. Horrify is mana cost of 90, cooldown 80 seconds. After a short delay, deal 263 damage, which is negligible, but you fear the enemies in the area for 2 seconds, and it looks awesome. So we're just going to look at it first because it looks awesome. You can see this big purple dude like blah blah blah. Here he goes. He just like he did a blah blah blah. And so here's how fear works. Okay, you got this whole circle. You can place it in. You can. I'm pretty sure it's just where your indicator is, right? So this is the max range you can drop it in, which is still pretty far. So what fear is, and it's going to be hilarious when I show you on this dummy, but what fear does is send a hero in the opposite direction of where the circle is. So it's also called panic in some games. Fear is the pretty standard thing of it. So how Horrify works and how fear works is I'm just going to bring this up. I might be able to Alt-Tab. Can you see my mouse still? No, you can't. Okay, it was worth a shot. So you have this thing out, right? So imagine the circle. Okay, we'll just imagine it around the dummy, okay? So here's your circle. It's around here. How fear works, and this is the very center of it, is anyone who's caught in this circle, okay? Anybody who's caught in the big circle right there, is sent in the opposite direction from the center of the circle, okay? So if I fear right here, and there's somebody right here, that person will trail this direction. If somebody is over here, and I hit them with the fear, and see this is where the center of the fear is, okay? The center is what matters. So if they're here, and there's the center, it's going to send them in the opposite direction of the center of the fear. So you can use this to your advantage by placing a fear over here, where the enemy might be running away from you, or might be running towards you, and you want them to run towards you, but you don't want them to do anything towards you. So you can place the center behind them, and they will run in the opposite direction of where the center point is. So I'll just show you what it looks like if I just drop it here. This is a defensive fear, okay? Since the center is going to be on this side of them, they're going to run that way. It's hilarious with the training dummy.
So feeble.
Training dummy ran away from the opposite direction of where the center is from their current position. Now say you're like, I want them to run towards me. Well, you can drop it on the other side of them.
Essence of fear.
And they will run in a straight line from the center. So at any point where I'm placing this, they're going to be running in the opposite direction of the center. So you can really actually just manipulate where you want people to go with this ability. And it's got a pretty long cast range, so you have a lot of options. And so I'm going to show you a cool trick you can do if you started a team fight and you didn't end up using fear. It can be used defensively and offensively. It's one of the best controlling abilities in the entire game. So yeah, okay, so that's fear. Like I said, or that's horrify, and I will go over the other ulti at the end, but like I said, it's not really worth ever grabbing. Level 13, I always grab the same thing. I always grab Health Stone. The 60-second cooldown, activate to heal for 25% of your maximum health. So this is just good in conjunction with your life tap and your drain life. You can put it on any hotkey. If you didn't know, you can click and drag this anywhere, and that'll be the slot it's in, or for the number. I leave it in 1 because that's just what I'm used to hitting, but you can move it wherever you want. So what Hellstone's good for is just kind of being in conjunction with your W and your D. Since you're not life tapping that much anyway, you can pop it and then just have more mana usage out of it, or you can click it to save yourself. I mean, got a few different options, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So I have this mana loss, pop my D once, get all this mana back, and then there's Health Stone if I need to get more health. One thing to keep in mind, and I'm gonna say this right now, since I saw the opportunity to do so. I'm gonna toggle cooldown so I got everything. I'm just gonna pop it all again real quick. Okay, so we'll say you're kind of low on mana. Okay, this isn't super low, but you're kind of low on mana. So you hit life tap, right? And this is where you're at. There's no reason for you to life tap again to get this bar. With Gul'dan, you never have to be topped off. Okay, it's something that you need to remember when you're playing this hero. And what topped off means is if you have this little bit to go, you kind of get overhealed or get over mana compensation, so you put yourself back at 100%. You don't ever need to be topped off on Gul'dan. There's no point. So this is acceptable, and I'll kind of show you more examples in the lane. I guess I gotta show you right here. If I were to capture this camp, right, and I was and I want to keep my life tap and my health in good order. I could be dropping this stuff. Alright, and see, I'm kind of low health, but I'm topped off on mana, okay? And why this doesn't matter too much is because you can use mercs to heal off of your life tap, you can use heroes, you can use minions, whatever. So something I like to do is I could tank that merc camp, right, and then I lose some health, and it's like, okay, you know, I lost some health. At any point on the map, if you see like minions, I'll show you the minion thing a little bit later, but if you see like mercs, right, because there's merc camp right here, you can just walk up, max range the merc camp, heal while they get up, and then leave. And then that's going to be enough health to keep you topped off. You also, remember, have Health Stone, so you have a lot of options to gain your health back. Gul'dan is a micromanaging hero of what your resources are, and typically your resource is your mana, but in the case of Gul'dan, you're controlling 2 different resources, which is health and mana, and you want to keep them balanced. Not balanced in the fact of having the same percentage value, but balanced in the fact of you know how much health you have and how much health you need, and same to your mana. So those are some slight examples of things you can do and how Healthstone helps out there. So level 16, remember I said with the E build and the build I like to go, which is a Q build, the level 1 and the level 16 taunt are the only thing that's different. So at level 16, you want to grab Ruinous Affliction. Corruption deals an additional 171 damage on impact. If the enemy is hit by all 3 strikes, the 3rd strike deals 511 damage plus, and that, I shouldn't say plus, that includes the dot. So, what this basically means is you're going to hit some crits on the 3rd strike. And here's the other thing and why you grab Echo Corruption at level 1. Alright, so we're going to pick that up. So remember our quest sends 3 more strikes backwards. So you're actually shooting 6 strikes of Shadow Energy, okay? So with 6 strikes of Shadow Energy, you only need 3 out of the 6 to proc Ruinous Affliction. So if I'm over here, and I'm going to hit this guy with 2, and then the 3rd one's going to come back, okay? So there's a 580 number that popped up right about there. I'm going to do it one more time so you can see it, but you should just kind of look around this area for a 587 to pop up. There it was again, 587 popped up. So only 3 need to hit out of this thing. And it's incredibly helpful for sieging, and it's also incredibly helpful for team fight combinations. So if you had like a ETC or a Muradin or a Sonya that grabbed Leap, anything that you can combo stun and drop these on, if you can hit 4 or 5 of these with Ruinous Affliction, it's just so much value, everyone dies. This kind of be a good example. These guys won't really move, and I'm going to use this and then walk towards them so we can get enough hits in on them. But you'll see their health drop pretty low pretty quickly. So this guy is like obliterated by just the one thing. So there's a
No less than total victory.
so there's some examples for you there. It does just a crap ton of damage. That's all it is. The one thing to keep in mind about the E build though is you're 100% reliant on you hitting your E to have better damage output than going the Q build, which is a little safer. It's not as much burst damage, but it ends up being kind of a better overall usage, which is why I like to go the Q build rather than the E build. Even though the E build technically does more damage, it's more unreliable damage, and going the Q build I can focus on enabling myself to be more helpful to my team and be more useful in a lot of other situations rather than just a burst machine. But the E build is definitely very strong, and I totally recommend going the E build. I do it myself. I go the E build if I have an ETC, Muradin, Sonya, someone with stuns that I can combo into with Corruption. So I'll kind of show you damage-wise. I didn't really want to attack those guys. So I'll show you damage-wise what this thing can do. Should be able to hit a wall. So you can see it just kind of melts structures intensely. Does a lot of damage. I might be able to grab this thing. If I place it like that. So that's 1 E with Ruinous Affliction at level 20. That's a lot of damage. So the utility that going the E build, what the E build provides for utility, I should say, that the Q doesn't, is you have awesome siege potential. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If you don't have very good push, or you have trouble taking mercs and stuff like that, E-build is also a lot better. But if your team has the heroes to fill those slots, Q ends up being better. Basically what you're looking at is E is really good for wombo comboing and then filling slots that assassins don't typically fill themselves, like kind of specialist roles. Q is built solely around team fighting and being a sustain high damage output hero within a team fight. So those kind of like the differences you have to keep in mind. Both builds are good. You just kind of choose what you want, what you feel comfortable with, and you go from there. Level 20, Demonic Circle is really fun. It's a cool ability. I haven't really found much use for it, but it's really good. Haunt is too good to pass up, alright? So increase the duration of Horrify by 1 second, and the feared enemies become vulnerable, taking increased damage. This just basically wins games when you hit 20. If you hit any amount of heroes in Horrify, they're gonna die. Almost guaranteed death as long as your team knows how to click one of their buttons and then onto a hero. Sorry, I had to readjust my headset here. It's super strong, so I'll just drop a Q on this guy, okay? And you can see the damage number. So 554 is what it said. I'm gonna fear this guy and then drop the Q, okay? Here you go. 692. So it actually does quite a lot more damage. 692 versus 554, I believe is what it was. Right? Yeah, 554. So it's a considerable boost. And what you also have to keep in mind too is your Fell Flame is on a 1.5 second cooldown, and this is now a area denial of fear for 4 seconds. Okay. So for 4 seconds, they are vulnerable, and you can get 2 of these off. And you're also going to get vulnerable damage on your E, and you're going to get vulnerable damage on your W, and you're going to get vulnerable damage for all of your ally abilities. So you're basically just going to kill somebody, flat out. Gul'dan is a pretty good early game hero. He's not the greatest, but he's alright. Mid game, he starts to kind of become a top tier, and then late game, if you hit a Horrify, you basically win the game. So he's super strong late game for his ulti, but his kit is good basically throughout the game. Not the best at anything, but definitely not the worst. So that's the typical E build. I'll bring in our good friend Arthasbot, and I'll kind of show you some basic damage and poke mechanics that you can do. So I'll start with the poke. He's not going to be denied. And basic poke mechanics, it's got a pretty far AoE. You can just blast them. Right click a few times. Turn off cooldowns, though it is still pretty quick regardless. You can just kind of harass them, keep them back, you know, a little bit. Spam this. Also push towers really easily this way, and you can spam it. So now I'm kind of lower on health, or I'm a little low on mana. So I'm just gonna hit life tap once. Good to go. Keep hitting them. If you go crazy and you really want to drop your life tap a bunch, you get kind of low, you can use this on a hero and heal off of him, or you can use it on a minion. I'm just going to toggle cooldowns real quick so I can show you it on a minion. Grab minion, heal up in lane, good to go, back to harassing, and you can just continuously do this indefinitely. So I'm going to reset I'm going to refresh forts. I'm going to get rid of the minions. Oh, I guess I should show you combination before I get rid of the minions and reset everything. So I am going to just kind of demonstrate overall damage and what you can do with your basic abilities, and then I'll do one with Horrify. This is on an Arthas. So that was no ulti. Alright. And that's how much damage you can line up on them. Now notice, what I did for that was, when I dropped my E on Arthas, I lined it up, and I'm looking at the two parts of the dots that are almost intersecting, or the circles. So when I'm lining it up on Arthas, I'm lining it up like that. So his hitbox is going to get hit by both of these. The guaranteed hit, I got a few extra hits. And life drain him. And here's a cool trick you can do with Horrify. So, when we went over Horrify originally, I did not mean to reset that, but that's okay. There wasn't anything else to really talk about. I'll just bring up the build. I'm going to have to reset it all anyway. Okay. So that's basically Ruinous Affliction in a nutshell. I reset the talent. I'm not about to go restack it. I didn't really mean to do that. But remember when we talked about Horrify, this is what I was about to go over. The enemies run from the center of the circle outward. So if this is the circle and an enemy's over here, they're going to run the opposite direction from the center, from where they're positioned. So the trick that you can do, I'll show you this combo real quick. I'm just gonna Horrify him into an E, right? So that was really fast. I'm just gonna Horrify him one more time, and I'm gonna hit my E, and you kind of want to place it where they're gonna be running. So you can get a few hits that way. If you can get him to run away, you can also hit a lot of... So I just stacked 3 from him running away. So you have some options. I'm gonna take off target, or the minions real quick. So as you can see, and from the running away motion of the fear, pop fear, and then immediately after drop your E, and they will run alongside and get hit by all of them. And that goes into conjunction really well with your level 16 talent. You're going to get a lot of bursts out of that. And typically speaking, the fear will end when they get to the last circle. So since it's going to do the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the last one's going to hit twice, you're going to get a 4th hit of corruption on them, and it's going to do a crap ton of damage. So yeah, so that's basic E combinations. There's not too much to go over with that. But I'm going to show you the cool trick you can do if you hold Horrify. Now, I don't typically recommend holding Horrify, but if you are in a situation where you have not used Horrify at the beginning or in the middle of a team fight, and you want to punish somebody running away, or if you're trying to solo kill somebody and just blasting them, I'm going to Horrify behind the gate to make sure he runs back towards my direction. So they have no movement options when they're feared. When you're feared, you can't control anything. It's like getting silenced and then mind controlled, and you're like, crap, I'm going to die. So if you saw there, Arthas was around here, and I feared over here, and the circle was, or the center point of the circle was about here, and he was here. So he just starts walking the opposite direction where that is, and that just allowed me to score an easy kill on him. So that's basic controls with this. There's a few different combos and advanced mechanics that I can go over with Gul'dan. Every hero has some sort of advanced mechanics, but as far as learning Gul'dan and playing him at least average to above average, what I've gone over is all you really need. Infinite possibilities is right, like he said. You just have a lot of options. There's a lot of different combinations I can go over. But I gave you some basic ones, and this video is more directed towards showing you how the hero functions, what his abilities does, and what good builds are. So, I'm now going to go over... the build I like to go, which is the Q build, and the only 2 things I'm going to go over is the level 1 and 16 talent, because those are the only things that are different. So level 1, I grabbed Chaotic Energy, And this is gathering a regen globe causes your next basic ability with a mana cost to be refund 40. Basically, you're taking away 40 mana cost. I don't know why they say refunded. Maybe this is how the engine works. But you're subtracting 40 mana cost off of whatever you use next. So corruption becomes 40 if you use it first, and fell becomes 35 if you use it first, and horrify becomes 50, I believe. Wait, is it 40? Horrify becomes 40. If you use it right after gathering a globe. And then after gathering 20 globes, basic ability mana costs are permanently reduced by 20. So 55, 60, and then 60. I believe this is 80, and this is 90. So this would be 50 mana cost for the initial hit off of a globe, and it will be 70 once you complete the quest. So this is kind of an interesting globe quest, because typically you're trying to complete globe quests pretty quickly, and the actual what it gives you for your quest makes it worth it alone. So you don't even have to like really get the reward, right? You want to go for it and you want to be complete as fast as you can, but you don't have to like prioritize globes as hard with Gul'dan. Like if there's one there, you pick it up, and eventually you're gonna hit 20 from merc camps, from objectives, and other things depending on what map you're on. So it's nothing you really want to concern yourself with too much, but it's just a really, really strong talent. Remember, this is the build I typically like to go. I just find I'm not life tapping as much because of what the reward gives you, which means you're going to have more health in a fight, and you already have 2 really good sources of health. And what you're really concerned about is your mana anyway, because your health is covered. So it just kind of helps you manage your resources a bit better because you have more to work with. More to work with being you're not using as much, so that gives you more to work with rather than raising your maximum capacity on either of them. So grab Chaotic Energy first. This is the Q-centered build, by the way. Chaotic Energy, Improve Life Tap, Hunger for Power, Horrify, Healthstone. And then level 16, I grab Rampant Hellfire, and this is Fell Flames damage is increased by 8% for 5 seconds when hitting an enemy hero. This can stack up to 5 times. This is insane. Okay, so 8 times 5, math is hard, that's 40, right? Yes, that's 40. I'm not completely stupid. So you have 40% increased damage on your Fell Flame, okay? So you have 40% increase, and it gives you this nice little like circly thingy, and keeps track for you. So 8 per stack, and you can go up to 40%. So 40% plus having the 15% here gives you 55% increased damage for Hellfire. Remember, Hellfire, or Fell Flame. I always call it Hellfire, because that's what that ability says. Fell Flame is on a 1.5 second cooldown. So you can miss 2. You can miss 2 Fell Flames and still keep your stacks up, which is very much a non-punishing level 16 talent. It's very user-friendly. And with also that, you're gaining 55% increased damage if you don't miss anything, when you're at max stacks, and it's on a 1.5 second cooldown. The damage output becomes insane. Your poke gets leagues better. You can wave clear, no problem. He's got a ton of different options, and it ends up helping, especially when, at the time that this video is being made, wave clear is very important for heroes, and Gul'dan really provides good wave clear for that. And then Haunt at level 20. So I'm just going to show you the stacks, alright? So what I want you to look at and pay attention to is the number that pops up off of Fell Flame, okay? So 731 damage is at 5 stacks, okay? 731 versus 554. So you're getting roughly 200 damage for the easy version of math. So you're getting 200 extra damage by hitting Q onto targets. And that was with toggle cooldowns on, right? I would turn those off, just as fast. Boom. There's your 5 stacks, and make sure you're keeping track of your mana. And like I said, you don't ever need to be topped off. This is a good ratio amount. You don't need to be topped off. You don't need to hit D again. You just need to get relatively up there. I'd say if you can average 85% of your health and mana, and consider anything 85% and above to be topped off, then you're good to go. That's what I believe personally. That's the good things I've had going for Gul'dan. It is really late, so I might be rambling again. Like I said, it's 2 a.m. right now. Video is actually very long, but that's basically it for Gul'dan as far as the differences and stuff. So just make sure that you're hitting your Fell Flame off of the Q build, and you'll get your stacks no problem. You won't have to even think about it, and you're gonna be able to decimate people in a fight. So I'm gonna turn on Arthas. I'm gonna kill him one time without using Horrify, and then I'm going to use Horrify and show you a combination with Fell Flame. I already showed you dropping it behind him and having him run out from a hidden area, so I'm not going to go over that one again. But I will go over just getting them to run back into you. So I'm going to do this twice, and that's going to end the video. Time has come. It's hard to show you proper resource management without playing a full game, so if you really want a full game of Gul'dan, I can record a game with him and show you what's up. So I'm just gonna start stacking.
That was rather entertaining.
So, as you can see, your damage isn't as huge as corruption, right? What you have to keep in mind is when you're playing a game, you're not going to have somebody that just sits here and auto attacks and you get your full combos off every time. This build allows you to have more reliable sustained damage. It's a little lower than the E build, but you also have more reliable damage, which means you're going to have a lot easier time picking off targets. So I'm going to do the fear version right now, where I'm just going to try to fear him into something, so I'm going to drop Uranus Flexion. And then you can just wave clear right after that. Boom. Done. So those are different scenarios. I didn't horrify him back into me, so I can try that. Just to show you one last time. Then that's gonna end the Gul'dan video. I'm just gonna drop E, horrify him into me. Some good hits. And then reset my health by using 1 in D, and then heal off a minion, and you're good to go, full health again. So, that is Gul'dan in a nutshell. Not too much else to go over him. One thing to keep in mind when doing a combination, if you want to use Horrify, is, or if you're going to go this Q build, right, and you're going to use Horrify as your vulnerability push, get your 5 stacks first, hit up to 5 stacks, and then use Horrify if possible. If the opportunity just comes and there's a really good fear circle you're going to drop, then just go with it. Don't worry about getting your 5 stacks, it's not completely necessary. But because you have the option to poke, you can just keep hitting a hero, and then at the end of it all, Horrify them once you have your 5 stacks. So if there's a bunch of teammates back, or a bunch of enemies back there and a bunch of teammates here, you could just kind of get some poke damage in here and there. And then you're like, alright, we're gonna engage, up the fear. Hopefully they don't run the other direction like that, and they run towards you, but you're gonna have your 5 stacks and you're gonna be doing a lot more damage. That's the concept of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this was good information, another really long one. These are typically probably going to be very long videos. Yeah, oh, I was going to show you the other ulti, and I'll also show you the demonic circle teleport because those are fun, and then that's going to end the video. If you have any more questions or you want more advanced tactics with Gul'dan and who Gul'dan combo pairs with very well, all that kind of information, I can always make a video on that. Otherwise, this will end the basics to Gul'dan. I will now show you Rain of Destruction. I'm just choosing random talents because it doesn't matter, and demonic circle. So, Rain of Destruction is massive. Look how big this is. Wow. And the little balls that drop down like are super small, and it's super RNG, and you just pray it hits somebody. Summon a rain of meteors in an area for 7 seconds. Each meteor deals 362 damage in a small area. The mana cost is 90, cooldown is 100 seconds, and you are rooted, and you can't do anything while you're casting this. So, Rain of Destruction. It looks awesome, and it is so impractical. I will just use it on a fort, and we'll just see how much damage we can do to a full health fort.
Is the only way.
If I don't stand right in the circle. Alright, here we go. See how much damage we can get done with the good old Rain of Destruction. Here we go. Alright, got it about halfway down. Got some pretty good RNG hits. And that was your ulti. Hopefully you didn't die during the usage of that. Demonic Circle, you summon the Demonic Circle, and then you can teleport to it at any time, and it's an instant teleport. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to camera lock, which is horrible. It's like really bad to look at this. I'm just going to drop a portal back here. You can cancel these at any time. I'm going to place a portal back there. You can also select them anywhere. Always changing the position of it is an option. So I'm just going to put it right here. Right? So it's right there where the circle is. And I'm going to walk over here. Our 2 key has an option now to be used. I'm going to camera lock. And you're like going to push this forward, taking hits. You're like, oh, I can do it. And then you're like, I can't do it. I don't think I can do it, guys. And you're like, boom. And then you hit your 2 key and you teleport instantly back to where you were initially. So I'll just do a short range of that real quick, just so you can see me walking and doing it, and then that's gonna end. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you need any other tips or whatever, you know where to contact me and all that stuff. Please let me know what you thought about the video. Alright, so you can be walking, you can cast something, and then instantly hit your 2 key, and you'll pop back to where you were. That's it. That's Gul'dan. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope Gul'dan is a successful hero for you. So there's some combination tricks you can do with the circle for yourself. What I don't know is if you can do this. No. I can't even cancel this. Oh wait, I have to hit R again. I'm an idiot. But you can't hit. That would make this also really good, is if you could drop it and then teleport back to somewhere. You can drop your abilities and hit 2 at any point, and it will send you back. So yeah, that's Demonic Circle, and that's everything. I already said my thanks and all that, so I will catch you guys later. Alright,
Infinite possibilities.
see ya!